Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevy.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Doak Propane. Doak Propane in Bolivar, Missouri. For all your propane needs, see the folks at Doak. Also presented by the Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. It's time for another one of our Chevy dealers of the Ozarks, Athletes of the Week, presented by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. We go to Maysville High School, and we welcome in the head basketball coach of the Wolverines, Coach Todd Mercer. Coach Mercer, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Coach, off to an outstanding start here, 11-2 on the season. Tell us a little bit about your team.
Well, they returned. This is my first year at Maysville. We returned two starters, I guess, off a 25-2 team last year. So very blessed to have a very talented group, and they're great kids. A lot of fun to be around, a lot of fun to coach, and like I say, season's off to a good start. We played some very good competition, and looking forward to the rest of the season with this group.
You know, we're basically over halfway through the season at this point. You're 13 games into, I believe, a 26 or 30 game schedule. I know Michigan's changed the rules a little bit. What do you feel like right now your team is doing really well?
You know, I'll tell you what, our team chemistry, I'm very, very pleased with. They're very unselfish. They support each other, and you know that right now that's one of the things that they play hard. They're coachable. There's a lot of talent here, and like I say, they support each other. And as I said, they're very, very unselfish. Probably one of the most unselfish teams I've coached in a long time, and just makes it fun and just doing some things well and just trying to get better day by day.
And Coach, you mentioned this is your first year there. Kind of tell us a little bit about your background. I know some of it because I was a part of some of it.
Right, yeah.
But talk to us a little bit about your background, and also for the folks maybe not familiar with that area of the state, your conference and what the makeup is, and kind of handicap that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm originally from Stanberry, Missouri, which is about 30 miles from here, but our conference is the Grand River. There's two parts of the Grand River. On our side, there's Gallatin, Marceline, Brookfield, South Harrison, Trenton. Who am I forgetting, Dylan? I think that's it. Yeah, I think there's 8 on our side. Putnam County also, and Milan on our side. So it's a competitive conference. We played 4 conference games so far and have done well there. We've got some obviously 4 more coming up that'll be big games for us. But very good conference, and so far conference season has went real well. As far as where I've been, I moved back up to this area this last year. I was the last 2 years I was at Springfield Greenwood. Taught at Greenwood and coached junior high boys basketball. And previous to that, helped at Nixa High School with Jay Osborne and Brock Blansett. And 1 year at that time was BBC, Baptist Bible College, but now it's Mission University. And then that's all after I retired. 13 years before that, I was at Harrisonville for 13 years, the basketball coach. 6 years at Reed Spring, and then 8 years previous to that at Pleasant Hope. So, moved back to this area and just very fortunate to land in this spot. Like I say, I'm having a lot of fun.
Well, and I would get in trouble if I didn't tell you that Coach Hicks from Harrisonville, the baseball coach, wanted me to extend congratulations to you on your season up to this point. Thanks a lot of you, and we have had the opportunities to talk on occasion, and I've done some cameo appearances there on 96.5 The Fan out of Kansas City, and he gets to listen in and he'll call me.
Right.
I was telling him I was getting ready to get an opportunity to visit with you, and he wanted me to make sure I told you hello.
Well, please tell him I said hello back. He's a good guy and heck of a coach.
You bet. Coach, 11-2 on the season, and I'm looking at your district. The record in your district is 64-18. Maybe the toughest district in the state. Kind of handicap that district a little bit. Do you get to see all of those opponents?
We'll see all of them. Well, we actually played Princeton in our jamboree. We'll play 2 or 3 of them, I believe, for that time. Play Gallatin. It's a really good district. Princeton, I believe, is 11-0 right now. I think they're ranked 8th in the state. Gallatin, I believe, is 9-2, and they receive votes for Class 2. West Nottoway has got two really good young guards. Freshmen are good. St. Joe Christian has guys that can shoot it. I think they're 8-4, 8-5, something like that. Tarkio, East Action has some good young kids. So it's been, and then Albany, I believe those are 7. I don't want to leave anybody out because I'm telling you, it's going to be a good one. Albany is hosting our districts, and we'll see how the rest of the season finishes out, and then take a shot at it. But yeah, it's a very good district, but that's we're looking forward to it. Obviously, we've got about a month and a half before that happens, and we want to continue to prove, and we want to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year, and I think that's still a very good possibility for us.
As I mentioned, this is our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week segment presented by the Missouri State Highway Patrol, and your own player there sitting beside you, Dylan Willis, has set the all-time career scoring record there at Maysville. Tell us a little bit about Dylan and what makes him special.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's I knew when I interviewed for the job, people told me we had an all-state player back there. Dylan was all-state last year. 3-sport athlete, all-state in baseball as well, plays football, all conference, all district in football. Very talented young man, but even a better person. Just had a blast coaching this young man and all our guys, but just he does things right, he works hard, very coachable. And Dylan set the record against Mid-Buchanan late December when we were playing them at the Civic Arena. The previous record, I believe, was 1,513 points, and he had 2 free throws to go over that. And he's currently, I think, over 1,600. I don't have the exact totals. He also, 2 weeks after that, had another really, tough thing to do, but recorded his 1,000th rebound in his career. And the greatest thing about Dylan and the senior class, and they have the 3.5 years, I think they're 77-17 over that 3.5 year span. So they expect to be successful, and they put in the work to be successful. Never have to question their effort in practice and games. But Dylan, he's a great young man. He's very active in FFA. I believe the FFA president, aren't you, as well? We were last year? Vice president. Well, but very active in school, and just a great young man, and represents our program really well, and just looking forward to a next month and a half with him and the rest of our team.
Very good. Well, Dylan, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you.
First off, on behalf of Chevrolet and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations for being named the Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. And Coach Mercer just promoted you there from VP to president, so maybe that's inauguration.
He would be a good one. He would be a good one.
Inauguration's Monday, so
there you go.
We'll see what happens. But Dylan, tell us a little bit about your game, what position you play, kind of what your roles and responsibilities are, and maybe some of what you believe your strengths to be.
Well, I've always played inside the 5 or the 4 position, so I just look to get a lot of rebounds and post up and look for good kickouts to my guards to see if they can knock down shots.
Let's go back to that Mid-Buchanan game. Did you realize that you were approaching the school record?
Yeah. I mean, people had been talking about it, so I had a pretty good idea.
Did you know when you hit that free throw that was the record, or were you aware of it?
I was.
Very good. Very good. Do you know or had acquaintance with the young man whose record you broke?
Yeah, I have. I've met him a couple times, actually. He's a really great guy.
How much older? I mean, what year would he have set that record?
I believe it was the 1960s. The record was over 50 years old. I want to say 66, but I may be off a year or two. But it's been a while.
Wow. Well, that's impressive. That is impressive. Tell me about the position you play. Is that something you've always played? I mean, obviously you've had a lot of floor time, going back to your freshman year, maybe even have started all 4 years. But is this the position you played the entire time?
Yeah, I've always been the 4 or 5, the main post guy. I mean, even since elementary, a couple classmates of mine have always been good guards, so they handled the ball, and I've just worked inside.
Very good. Have you ever had the opportunity maybe where you maybe go over to Coach Mercer and say, "Hey, I'd like to maybe play the 2"? Or
it happens more than what you would think, or shoot the 3, or you know what? The thing is, he can shoot it too. I mean, he's got good range. So one of these games he may break it out. Hopefully it's just the right time,
Dylan, as you come into this season, did you have any personal or team goals? Coming off a very good record a year ago at 25-2, what were your personal or team goals coming into the 24-25 season?
Yeah, well, last year we came one game short of winning the conference, so I think we all knew that was one that we wanted to try to get this year. And then us seniors are just really looking forward to working with this team and trying to get a district win. It's going to be tough. We got a really hard district, but we're just going to try to enjoy it all and see how far we can go.
Bill, as you look back over your career, and even at my age, I can remember games at the high school, baseball, basketball, football. I can remember collegiate football games, baseball games, and there are games that stand out that I'd like to go back and play again. Games that you look back on, and maybe it's a Plattsburgh game from a year ago, or maybe it's a game where you had a huge game. Maybe you had a really fun night. Are there games you look back at, man, I'd like sure like to go back and play that one again?
Yeah, right once you started talking about that Plattsburgh game immediately popped into my head. I've never experienced something like that, seeing this gym that packed. And, yeah, we came up a little short. I think we'd all love to play that game again, try to come out on the other side of it. Very
good. Dylan, if you could get in the time machine and go back to that Dylan Willis who was an eighth grader, and give yourself some advice based on what you know right now as a senior, whether it would be getting the weight room more, getting the gym more, what advice would you give yourself based on what you know right now as a senior?
Well, getting in the weight room, that's an easy one. I mean, you can always get stronger, and that's just going to help you be a better overall athlete.
Yeah. It's, and I've had a lot of people say, hey, don't be so hard on myself, or, don't, or enjoy the moment, hey, enjoy the time that you're in. Don't look back. Don't look forward. I mean, are those things you think about?
Yeah. I mean, this 4 years, it seems like your whole life you're just looking forward to it, and then it goes by really fast. So,
yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. Still feel like I'm just a young freshman trying to earn a spot on the team, and here I am halfway through my senior year. So
now being a senior, have you made a decision on what you're going to be doing next year? Have you, at least entertained the idea?
Yeah, I've entertained the idea. Talking to a few basketball coaches at the next level to see what they got to offer.
Outstanding. Well, once again, on behalf of Chevrolet and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations for being named an Athlete of the Week. And I have one more question, right. and I am a mandated reporter for the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Do you always wear your seatbelt?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Dylan, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. Coach Mercer, as always, it was great to catch up with you. And, I finally remember those times where we got to spend time together. I can remember, Brad Roten and, those guys, Jay Osborne and those guys hanging around. Darren Archer, who's part of
a lot of good memories.
They are indeed. And, again, I greatly appreciate you helping set this up. Hey, best of luck as you go forward. And, hey, maybe we'll get the team on as you head into districts, get, 4 or 5 of the guys, maybe bring your seniors in and kind of let them talk and introduce themselves to the state of Missouri.
That'd be awesome. We'd love that.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good luck the rest of your season. Hey, you guys, hey, God bless, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
After these messages from the Missouri Sports Network.
Hi. I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck.
And a high-tech Chevy SUV.
Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support. For life. Great Southern Bank. Understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends. Yeah! Be great.
Participate! Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevy.
Hello, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network. Missouri Sports Network, where everyone has a home field. Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy alongside. I almost messed up my own name. But certainly glad you've tuned in. As always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, hey, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. This segment brought to you by the Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings, established in 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Now we go to Northeast Nottoway High School. We welcome in Blue Jay head girls basketball coach Ike Werner. Coach Werner, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, no problem.
Coach, 8-4 on the season. Tell us a little bit about the season here as you get you're getting close to the halfway point of the season. What's it been like so far for the Blue Jays?
Well, I acquired the team after the first game. This is my first year coaching, but so far these girls have really helped me ease into coaching, and it is awesome.
You know, as you look back at last year, kind of talk a little bit about what you know about the team from last year, what you had to replace due to graduation, and what the expectations were coming into this season.
Well, to my knowledge, there was a post player, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a post player that graduated, and I think she went to college to go play. So those are some big shoes to fill. I know we went 16-9 last year, right? But I think we're on the track to maybe overcome that record.
Yeah, 8-4 right now. Tell us a little bit about, for people viewing from around the state of Missouri, kind of where you're located and what your conference is, kind of who's in your if you're in a conference. Some teams aren't in a conference. Tell us a little bit about what you know about your conference.
Okay, so we are at the very northwest tip of Missouri for the most part. We're probably about 15 to 20 minutes away from Iowa. We are in the 275 conference. I don't know how many schools there is, but there's some really good teams in the conference. Us being one of them, of course, but there's Nottoway Valley, there's Rockport, Platte Valley, yeah, they're good, and DeKalb, Union Star, and there's just several around the area.
Well, just briefly a little bit about your background. You mentioned you took over after the Albany game, going into the Platte Valley Invitational Tournament. Tell us about your background. Where'd you go to high school, college, and how'd you end up there at Northeast Nottoway, and how did you end up with the job?
So I'm from St. Joe, Missouri. I went to Central High School there. I played basketball there. And then I started college at Missouri Western. And then I ended up transferring to Northwest. I didn't play any sports in college, but I could have. But during my student teaching, I wanted to teach at a smaller school since I went to such a big high school in St. Joe, just because I like the community a little better, getting to know everybody. And then over the summer, they asked me if I wanted to take over the boys program for basketball, and I said absolutely. And then the girls head coach resigned, and they wanted me to fill in his shoes, and I was gladly able to do that.
So you're doing both boys and girls?
I am, yes.
Wow. Well, that's a tall challenge there.
Well, I don't have any kids, so all I have is time. So
Outstanding. Well, you've got a young lady there beside you in Bailey
yes.
Busby, and this is our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week presented by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Tell us a little bit about what you know anyway about Bailey and what makes her special.
Well, from when I met Bailey to now, I know that she's just a natural leader. Everything she does excellent. So, and that really translates on the court. I heard these stories about all of the sports she's played, and she just excels at everything she does. And then throughout the basketball year, she's been the leader on the court, and she helps steer the other people to the right direction. It is awesome.
Bailey, how are you today?
I'm good.
First off, on behalf of Chevrolet, the Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations on being nominated as an Athlete of the Week. Tell us a little bit about that game where you had the quadruple double, which is doubles and points scored, steals, rebounds, and assists. Did you know during the game that you were getting close to that quadruple double?
I didn't really think about it really, and then after the game they showed me all the stats, and I really didn't know how many points I had. So the next day, Coach Warner said I had a quadruple double, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" So that's a big accomplishment for me. Anyway.
Now you're a senior, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your role and responsibilities on the team, and have they changed? From your freshman year until now, are you playing the same position, a different position, and what's your role been like, and how has it kind of changed?
Well, freshman year, we kind of only had like 5 people on the team. We had a small team. It was kind of a mess. So I played a little bit of everywhere. And then going forward to sophomore and junior year, I mostly played point guard since we had a more stable team. Senior year, I'm mostly point guard. I play a little bit of post, and a little bit of the guards on the top. So everybody kind of gets their turn. So that's good.
Do you have a favorite position? Would you rather play facing the basket or with your back to the basket?
Oh, I'm good with wherever you put me. I'm pretty flexible. So.
Tell us a little bit about the rivalries there. You've played since your freshman year. Are there games that you look at when you look at your schedule that maybe it's a conference game, maybe it's a rivalry game because you look forward to, maybe someone on the other team? Are there games that you really look forward to?
I'm kind of like Flat Valley, the main one. We haven't beat them for a long time, and we're hoping this year we come close or we pull it out.
Very good. Now tell us a little bit about what you feel like the strengths of your game are. Where do you feel like you have some success? And obviously the quadruple double, you can say, well, I rebound well, I pass the ball well, I can play defense, and I can score. But where do you feel like your best qualities are?
I kind of feel like it depends on the night. So if I'm not driving too well, I know I can pass out to one of my teammates. If I'm not guarding well, he puts me down and then has 2 other people on top since we play zone. It just kind of depends. I mean, if I'm not having my best night, somebody else is, so I can always count on them.
As you look back over your career there at Northeast Nottoway, are there games that stick out in your memory, games that you had a really good night, and maybe the quadruple double night, but are there games that you'd like to go back and play again because either one, maybe it's a game you felt like you should have won and you want to play it again and get it, or maybe a game where you had a big night? Are there games that really stand out in your memory?
Last year, King City tournament, we were playing for, I think it was first, but I think we got second. Don't quote me on that, but I had 24 points that game, and I had a bunch of steals, and everybody was just playing together, and it was really great, and I really enjoyed that game.
Now, being a senior, if you could get in a time machine and go back in time to that 8th grader or freshman Bailey Busby and give yourself some advice based on what you know now, as a senior, what advice would you go back and give yourself, whether it be staying in the weight room or, enjoy the moment that you're in? Because, right now you're looking back at your freshman year thinking, man, that went by so fast. What advice would you give yourself?
On the court, I would tell myself to not get down on myself and that one play doesn't define the whole game. And then definitely keep working in the weight room and doing off-season stuff.
What if any plans have you made for next year? Do you have collegiate plans, whether it be playing basketball or just going to school? Where are you at right now with that decision?
I want to be a radiology tech, but I haven't decided which college yet. So I've applied to many and I've got accepted to many, but I just don't know yet.
Right. Now, is there a background there? Do you have family in that field, or is it just something you have interest in?
My mom's a travel nurse, and a few years ago I broke my leg. So I had to get an x-ray, and I just thought x-rays were really cool. I thought it would be like a field I could go into.
Outstanding. Well, again, on behalf of Chevrolet, the Missouri Highway Patrol, congratulations on being named an Athlete of the Week. And I have one final question for Bailey. And it is, and I'm a mandated reporter for the Highway Patrol. Do you always wear
What?
Do you always wear your seatbelt?
I do. Always.
Very good. Very good. Well, again, congratulations. Coach Werner, hey, thanks so much for helping set this up. And, you've got a lot of games in front of you, both boys and girls, but it ought to be exciting. And hopefully, maybe you can get to a district championship again, or maybe win a district championship, and we'll get the entire team on.
Sounds great. That'd be awesome.
You bet. Hey, you're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And brought to you by RBW Agricultural Farm Equipment Sales, locations in Moberly and Bolivar, Missouri, and you can visit them at rbwag.com. We'll be back after these messages.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State Campus, Hammonds Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective, and find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevy.
Hey, welcome back to High School Game Day here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, Lyona Labor's Local 663 remind us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. We go to Willow Springs High School. It's our third trip down there in the last couple of weeks, but they have had a couple of Athletes of the Week nominations. We go back to Willow Springs. We talk with head coach Dustin Forrest. Coach Forrest, hey, thanks for your time today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Coach, 5-3 on the season. Got a win. I guess that was Friday night over Alton.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how the season has gone so far.
Yeah, 5-3 to start the year. We started out. We kind of our schedule's kind of tough to begin the year. We go back-to-back tournaments, back-to-back weeks, and we went to the Stratford tournament the first week of the season, first week of December there, and that's usually always a tough tournament. There's a lot of competitive teams in it. When we started out, we opened up against Cassville, first game of the year, which they've got a giant inside. I think he's listed as 6'8" or 6'9", and he's every bit of that. And we really don't have a ton of size. So to go up against them, we get a good win there to start the year. And then we played Ava, which is a fellow SCA foe, and we see them a lot. They've got a really good player there, and the Dalton kid, and was able to beat them to get to the championship game against Stratford. So we were excited about that opportunity to play Stratford at Stratford. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere, and Stratford coming into the year, they had a good season last year. I think they bring back I think they have 7 or 8 seniors. I'm pretty sure. And Coach Ryerson does a great job with them. And we came in right off the bat and matched their intensity from the get-go, and it was just a back and forth intense game the whole time. I think with a minute and a half to go, it was tied. And we ended up just falling short. They hit, I think we missed a shot with a minute and a half to take the lead, and they went down and got a 3-point play, and it was kind of in there. We ended up losing by 6 there. So that was a good, you're frustrated for losing, but battling with them, team is, they're ranked in the state in Class 4, and then they're also, they're the 4 seed in the blue and gold coming up. So at their place, that was a good show for us. And we went to the Mansfield tournament the following week, and we were in the pool with Gloria Deo and Mansfield. Beat Gloria Deo pretty handily the first night, and then played Mansfield at Mansfield. And that's I'm from Norwood, so Summit Conference, playing at Mansfield's nothing new to me. I know that's a tough place to play, and I'll be honest, Craig did a good job that night game planning against us. They guard us well. We didn't make many shots. I think we blew a 5-point lead twice in the fourth quarter. So we just didn't come out ahead there, and then end up playing Monette in the third place game and won pretty handily. So, and then since then, we played, we went to Alton, which, Willow Alton goes back a long time rival there. And going to Alton, it's an hour away, and the road's not straight for half a mile. So to go down there, and we probably played our best game of the year, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of Colby was. I looked over at our assistant coach. I think he had 20 in the first quarter, and he didn't miss a shot. He was unconscious, and that his starting us off like that kind of bled over to everybody else. And we shot the ball really, really well that night, and so we're in a good spot. We're 5-3 going into blue and gold, and we got seeded. So we're excited about this week. For a school like us, small school, kind of away from Springfield, there's not a bigger time and more excitement things to go up to the blue and gold and play against some teams we don't normally play.
Coach, and you talk about you played 2 tournaments. You've got the blue and gold coming up, so you will have played 3 tournaments before the turn of the year.
Yeah.
Is your schedule, is it that much different? And I know Misha has changed some of the rules with regards to how many tournaments you can play. I think it's more now based on your entire number of games rather than how many tournaments you can play. Was that by design on your part to get into?
Yeah, it kind of started last year. We came off. We had some teams drop us, and going into last year, we needed 3 games, and we were already in 3 tournaments, and we looked. Our AD looked and trying to find 3 games that match up with the days you have open. And we actually had a huge break there in December, where if we moved 1 game, then we could have added that Mansfield tournament. So you kind of weigh you weigh it here. You're losing some home games, but you pick up that Mansfield tournament. It's a 4th tournament, and it's a tournament that's going to be, number one, it's going to be competitive, but there's also games that you win. So we kind of weighed that factor and was like, let's just, this is easy, it fits. So we went to that 4th tournament, and then so we'll do the blue and gold, and then actually we'll be in another one. Our 4th tournament this year will be. We'll go to Sparta in late January. We're going there. So, yeah, and it's something we kind of reflect on every single year. We put feelers out there to see if we could get some games to fill those dates. Because, number one, 2 tournaments back-to-back is tough on your guys. And then we're losing a couple home games by doing that. So, we'll reflect on it next year. But, it just seemed like what we needed to do again this year, just to go ahead and do that.
Not only that, they're two very competitive tournaments, and you end up playing the home school in both tournaments.
Yeah, that's always fun, but that it makes us better. But yeah, I'm telling you, like I said, I'm from Norwood. I hate playing Mansfield at Mansfield, so that's a tough place to play.
Any chance you see Greenwood in the blue and gold?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. I think they're in the other. Obviously we got Aurora in the first round, and Coach Thornhill does a good job with them. And actually, we went away this summer. We went up to Central Methodist to try to get away from here and try to get away from people we play. And Coach Thornhill was up there. The only other team I even knew who they were was Aurora, and we didn't play them, but we watched them play a bunch, and they kind of match up with us pretty well. We're both guard oriented, fly up and down the floor, and then obviously if you take care of business in that game and end up beating Aurora, we get more than likely we get Kickapoo at Springfield, so that'll be a blast. It'll be a good challenge and opportunity for our boys. And then I think out of that would be Fairgrove or Hillcrest. So no, I don't think Greenwood's anywhere near us, to be honest with you, now that I start reflecting on it.
We've got a young man sitting beside you who's nominated as part of the Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, scored his 1,000th point of his career, and he's just a junior. Colby James. Tell us a little bit about Colby.
Well, I've known Colby since he was in preschool. I've been at Willow my whole career. This is my 13th year. His dad taught PE with me here to start off with when we started, and then he's kind of moved up the ranks with me along the way. He's been elementary principal. Now he's our AD. And his dad gives him a hard time all the time because his dad was quite the player too. His dad was the all-time leading scorer at Willow. And then he went to Tennessee Martin, played Division I for a year there, and then got a little homesick, transferred back home to play. Actually, one of his buddies, Josh Hume, he transferred back home to play with Josh Hume at C of O. So the James families know they're no shy away from basketball. But I've known Colby since then, and I remember him in kindergarten and first grade. We had like Y-ball games. And it was almost unfair to go watch him play. He would be dribbling between the legs, shooting fadeaway jumpers, and I've known from the get-go. And he was practicing with us in the gym. He's down there when he was in third, fourth grade. That he's just he's a gifted basketball player, gifted athlete. But people don't see the work that he puts in. I mean, he's shooting all the time. If he's not shooting here, he's shooting at home. Go back to his freshman year, he broke every freshman record we had at dad on score and assists, and then did the same thing last year as a sophomore. And he's just continued to work. And his biggest thing, he's kind of undersized. I call him 5'9.5", 5'10", but he's probably more like he's probably barely 5'9". But I bet he's gained. He's about 5'9". 170? 5'9", 170. He's gained about 15, 20 pounds of muscle the last 2 years, and he's just a quick bowling ball out there that's tough to mess with. He can pull up and shoot at any time. So he's everything he's got. There's a lot of obviously God-given ability, but he's worked his tail off to get to where he is, and I'm proud he's starting to get some coverage, getting his name out there, and he deserves every bit of it.
Colby, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
First off, on behalf of the Missouri State Highway Patrol and Chevrolet, congratulations on being named an Athlete of the Week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Go back to that game. Did you know that you were approaching that 1,000 points?
Yeah, I did. I was 3 points away, and I knew I just needed 3 points to get it.
And what was the shot? Was it a three-pointer that you tied it with, or did you get it on the free throw line?
I can't really remember.
that surprised me on him. He needed 3 going into the Stratford game, the championship game. And of course, his dad after the semi game was like, "Good grief, Colby, you couldn't hit one more shot." He could have just taken care of it the night before. But I do think he hit a 3 on the second trip down the floor. I remember it because I was kind of just a brief second of, oh, there it is. But I knew, knowing him, I think after the game when I brought it up, I think he was kind of like, "Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that." But yeah, he hit it. He got it pretty early in that stretch.
Colby, tell us a little bit about your, the position you play, what your roles and responsibilities are, and what you feel like maybe your strengths are, and maybe some things maybe you feel like you need to work on.
My role is to really get the offense going and really set up the plays and score and get my teammates open, good looks. Yeah, that's about what I do.
Yeah. What right now do you feel like you're doing really well, and maybe what are a couple of things you feel like you need to work on?
I think I'm shooting the ball right now. I think I need to look to get my teammates a little more open shots. Maybe rebound a little more. I haven't rebounded too well this year. I'm doing good on free throws. Maybe make a little more threes. My 3-point percentage isn't the best right now, but that's about it.
You see a lot of double teams.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
What do you do to kind of get prepared? Let's say you're playing tonight. Obviously, you're not. What are you doing throughout the day to kind of get mentally and physically prepared? You're drinking lots of water, trying to rest, listen to music, eating special foods. You have superstitions. What are you doing to kind of get ready?
The night before, my mom normally cooks me a good meal, get me ready. I try to drink enough water for the game, stay hydrated, get enough rest before the night or before the game. Yeah, that's about it.
You know, it's funny you've asked that because he may be the worst I've ever had or seen of a kid that gets cramps because he just goes a million miles an hour and he goes the whole game. I mean, he doesn't set very much. That probably falls back on me, but it's hard to take him out of the game. And there's been a few times, guy, that he like has full body cramps. You think we're going to take him to the hospital. So, like I said, I'm his principal up here. So every day, especially game day, I'm like, every time he walks through the hall, I'm like, where's your water bottle? Where's your water bottle? And, you know, we're constantly on him about getting fluids, but he's gotten so much better at that. But like I said, good news is Dad knows what he's doing. So night before games, I think they're getting in bed because his little brother starts for us too as a sophomore, and so getting him in bed and I think they eat him out of house and home, so they always have a good meal and we try to hydrate Colby all day long and then the whole game because like I said, when he cramps, it's over. It takes a while for him to get over it.
You know, I went through that a little bit, you know, and I played college football as a quarterback in college, and I went through that, and I had never heard of this, and now I see it a lot, is coaches will give me a jar of pickle juice. They just drink it during the day, and I was like, that's stupid. All the time.
Pickle juice, mustard. We've got liquid IV packets because Colby doesn't talk much, but boy, I tell you what, when he starts cramping, he starts talking an awful lot. He'll start hollering, "Coach, coach, coach, coach." So, but yeah, he does a good job of prepping for games. And, you know, like you said, we're lucky that we've got 2 or 3 really good guards to go with him. But obviously, you know, most nights it's the game plan is, you know, how to slow him down, how to keep him from getting to the rim. That's what he does. He does so well is getting to the basket, and he's so strong and quick. And I think this year he's really upped his game in junior high. He shot it lights out from 3-point line. Then he kind of went away from that and really just started going to the rim. But as people started closing down on him and doubling down at the basket, he started, you know, he really worked this summer on his 3-point line, and he's hit a bunch of them this year. And I tell you what, when he gets to 10 feet and gets his feet set and shoots that jump shot, he jumps way off the ground. It goes in a lot. So that's his bread and butter is getting there about that free throw line and pulling up. But yeah, he's really worked on his 3-point game, and I've seen it this year, really making a big jump.
Kobe, as you come into this season, and I do this just by the nature of what I do, I'll look on schedules and I say, I'd like to see this game. I'd like to see that game. Do you find yourself at the beginning of the season looking at your schedule and thinking, man, I'm looking forward to playing this team. I know someone on that team, or maybe they got us last year and I owe them a favor. Or maybe you're looking towards tournaments. Are there games you really look forward to participating in?
Yeah, there's some games. Blue and Gold coming up. There's those games you always want to win and compete in. Thayer, I want to play good against Thayer. They beat us the last 2 years, I think. Mountain Grove's won. Here, I think we should have won. And yeah, just those.
All right. Well, just a junior. Any aspirations to play at the next level like Dad?
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. Well, again, and I just have one question left, and just let me know, or just to let you know, I am a mandated reporter for the Missouri State Highway Patrol. So my question is, do you always wear your seatbelt?
I do wear my seatbelt.
You better.
Very good. Well, again, on behalf of Chevrolet and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, Kobe, congratulations on being named an Athlete of the Week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And Coach Forrest, thank you so much for helping set this up. And I know it's kind of, this is episode 9211. So it's been going a little. So, but we appreciate it. Good luck in the blue and gold. And I hope maybe I'll get to catch a game down there when you guys play.
Hey, perfect. Hey, thanks for having us. And you said you've been to Willow a couple times. I appreciate. We're a long ways from Springfield and that area, and we got good kids down here. And I'm glad that you're doing your job to help get our names out there. So I appreciate it.
Hey, you bet, gentlemen. Hey, have a very safe and happy holiday season, and we will see you soon.
See ya. Thank you.
You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.
Hello, Missouri. We are the Lady Bears basketball team.
We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas from the Missouri Sports Network.
And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol wants to remind us to always take 3 seconds to buckle up.
It is 3 seconds that can save your life.
Be safe, be smart, and be here for 2025.
Or you'll end up like Riley.
The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Certainly glad you tuned in, and as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Well, this is something I've worked on now for about 5 years. An opportunity here to go back and kind of relive January the 18th of 1998 in the Tournament of Champions. And Teddy Dupay and Scott Brakebill are along with head coach for the Bolivar Liberators, Darren Archer. And Teddy, first off, hey, thanks for being part of the show today.
Oh, sure thing. This is cool. I'm glad you guys asked me to jump on.
And Scott Brakebill, you as well, and you are quarantined there, in your pickup right now.
Yep, this is my home for a few weeks, I guess, working out of the truck. But thanks for having me on as well. And always good to rehash some good memories.
Yeah, Coach Archer alongside here, and we're maintaining as much social distancing as we can. But Darren, thanks for coming by today.
You bet, my pleasure.
And Teddy, we were talking a little bit off the air, but going back to that winter of 1998, what are some things that really stand out to you about the Tournament of Champions?
Really impressive, and like I said, this is cool to be talking to you guys so long later. I remember, it was just an unbelievable tournament. They treated us really well. We went to a lot of places to play that year. We were like a circus sideshow, and it's because we were fun to watch. But we were saying as kids, anytime you had a packed house, that was great. Anytime you had baskets that weren't attached to the ceiling, that was really great. Anytime you had seats with fans on all four sides, now we thought it was playing big time basketball. So it was a lot of fun. The games were great, high quality basketball, knowledgeable fans. But as we were talking about, some of the things I most remember were the things that didn't happen on the court, and that's kind of the beauty of youth sports is building friends, building relationships, learning the life skills that are going to last you forever. So great tournament, but a great experience overall.
And Scott, you would actually play in that facility later as a collegiate player, but going back to that year in 1998, what are some memories that stand out to you?
Well, obviously living in this area, we were very familiar with the Tournament Champions. Most of us got to go to it growing up, and just to hear Bolivar's name be announced to play in that tournament, it was a year-long, build-up and anticipation to be able to step on that floor. We we've had some past experiences and success on that floor, getting to play the blue and gold tournament every year, and previously winning it the year before. So we had some success on that floor, so we were excited, and obviously to hear what names, what teams from where across the country were going to come, and even just for us to get to see and watch them play was exciting. But to actually step on the court and get to compete and show everybody, our skill level versus theirs was, it was amazing.
And Coach Archer, that we were visiting, you've been here a little while, and just talking about some of the things that stand out to you about that particular tournament champions.
Well, just the quality of tournament and the quality teams that they bring into that tournament, and the first-class job that they do in running the tournament. And it's really neat to see how it's evolved over the years. And I think CBS Sports broadcast some of the games now, and so it was a big thing back then, and it's grown even bigger and better currently.
So as a coach, you're coming in, you've got Teddy Dupay, the leading scorer in the country. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to prepare for Mr. Dupay?
You don't. I told our guys at the beginning of the tournament, and Scott may remember this, I said, hey, this is probably the only time during the season we're going to play as underdogs, so enjoy that moment. And I also said, let's do something to put our name in the record books. And little did I know that after that game, I think there were 8 or 9 records broken in that single game. And now when I told our guys that, I didn't want the versus Bolivar to be at the end of that record, but quite a few of them were. But it was an awfully fun night.
As you look back, Teddy Dupay, on that night, you had 52 points, which is still, or 58 points, I'm sorry, which is still the tournament champion single game record, as well as you had 38 points in the game against Hartville, so 129 points in the tournament, which is also still the tournament record. What about that night stands out? You had 13 threes, which is also a single game record. What that had to be exciting.
Yeah, well, if I remember, wasn't the old record before that game? Didn't we both break it? Didn't Scott and I both break it that night?
You did.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty neat, I think.
Yeah, I can remember you guys maybe meeting at half court, shaking hands, and I was sitting next to a guy named Dwayne Banner, and I said, "There's 100 points at mid court right there, just between the two of you." What was it like during the game? Did you have much interaction?
Yes and no. I think we were. It's kind of hard to explain. Scott will understand. Rarely, when you're a guy like us, do you really run into somebody who's willing to step up and fight back? Like, everybody's motivated at the beginning, but then once you start doing what you're doing, it doesn't take an opponent very long to realize they're overmatched, if that makes sense at all. You take somebody's will to fight. I can count them in my head, how many times we've run into somebody who was equally as good on the other end. And gosh, one time I think of a guy, Mateen Cleaves, when they beat us in a national championship game. I knew he was good. I knew he was strong. But then once we got out there and you really saw how people respond to him, how much command he had, how much respect he had from his coach, you knew you were in for a big fight. And he would tell you the same. You remember those people who really earn your respect, because of their quality. And I think that's something that sticks out in the game. The other thing is that, the guys fouled me on every single shot. Refs were not giving us the calls.
Do you remember that? Was that the case, Scott, where you guys fouling them on every shot?
Oh, absolutely. And luckily for me, we like you asked about if we had any interactions on the court. Luckily, I didn't have to guard him. I was a big guy, so I think we threw everybody else, including the water boy, out there trying to guard him, and we double teaming him, and we still couldn't stop him. I think it was I don't even know who it was, but I think we poked him in the eye once, and he still made it from half court. And, someone hit him in the stomach, and he still made it. It just continuously throughout the game. Once he started going, it was obvious that there wasn't much that was going to stop him.
Scott, you're absolutely right. I finally gave up and tried to double team him and put Andy Ruth and Michael Katrash on him. And if you guys remember, the old coaching boxes were right there where at the end of the bench. And Teddy, we were double teaming you, and you pulled up. I swear I could have reached out and touched you. You pulled up. One of my kids hit you in the stomach. The other one's poked you in the eye, and you still hit the three. And they both looked at me, and I just shrugged my shoulders. I said, "Guys, I don't know what to tell you."
Well, I got to tell you, I still play every day. I'm still working, trying to get better. Got to improve my shot and my skills because the old body, it slows down a little when you get old.
Well, and Scott, and a question for both of you. We'll start with Scott. Talk about some of the teammates that you had back then, and their experience and what it was like to be able to enjoy that atmosphere. Even though that was a fifth place game, it was a tremendous atmosphere. But that just the guys that you share that atmosphere with.
It was, and really, for us, we were all kids that grew up together for the most part. So we've been playing together for years, and to get to step onto the court, and we knew it was going to be, our last game at the tournament champions. We wanted to, like Coach said, we wanted to put our stamp at the tournament champions as a local team that stood up to this competition. And little did we know what we were actually getting into. We knew that they were going to shoot the ball as quick as they could. So we said, all right, we're going to fight back. We're going to go right back at them. And no matter how many shots they made on the other end, we went just as fast, pushing it back the other end, and nobody backed down. I mean, from Coach mentioned, Andy and Mike were the younger starters on the team, and then other seniors, Jason Smith, who was an all-tournament team selection that year as well, who I think he was just short of 30 points in that game, and people rarely mention his name, but he was on fire as well, making plenty of shots. And then of course my best friend since day one was John Hacker, and he was the guy who we kind of came out there and assigned him to Teddy, I think, off the start, because he was a physical guard. He was big, strong, quick enough, and I think Teddy got him at 2 quick fouls, if I'm not correct there, Coach. But that's when we had to kind of shift our game plan. When John got a couple fouls and pushed some other guys over, and then we just continuously kept moving across the board. But again, another stat that I think that people forget about that game was, I think Oliver still holds the assist record in the tournament champions. Is that right, Guy?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Yep. Yeah, so that says a lot to our team and how unselfish these guys were and motivated, and the way we moved the ball. Obviously, it ended up in my hands quite a bit. I don't know, either because I wasn't being guarded, or just the guys knew that I was getting hot as well, and just fight back. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's a memory that passes down to my kids now, and I'm very proud and honored to be mentioned every year when this tournament comes around. And what is it, 22 years ago? And I think when people ask me how many points I scored, I think it's up to like 80 now. So by the time I'm 80 years old, I think I probably would have scored about 85, and Teddy probably would have scored 100 if memory serves me correctly.
Well, Teddy, you had some standout members of your team. Noah West, who did not play in the Friday night game against Hartville, which helped put you in the 5th place game there, and then Ernest Grant, who was also on that team. But it had to be a tremendous experience with them as well.
Oh, yeah, we had a really cool group of guys. It's funny, at our school all 4 years, my freshman year and sophomore year, we had 8 Division I players on the squad. And then my junior and senior year, all the big guys were gone, and, it was me, Ernest, and Noel primarily. Noel, who was just incredible. He doesn't play on Friday night, 7-day Adventist. And that hurt us throughout the season. I think we lost 5 games, and I want to say 5 of them were on Friday nights. So he's very important to our squad. Ernest, obviously, best athlete I've ever been around. Nobody like him, and the best man. He, when I went to Florida, I wore 24 in high school. When I went to Florida, there was a guy with 24. So I was first going to try and talk him into giving it to me, but then I changed my mind, and I wore number 5 all my times at Florida. And then even in the pros, I wore number 5 in honor of Ernest. That was his number. So he was my best friend. We were dorm mates in college and very, very close. I talked to him yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, when you're playing, it's cool about high school. You're playing with friends, and then you're going to spend all that time off the court. All the things that make a team good, you automatically do that when you're in high school. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we as a team, we were ultra small, so we played, try to play very aggressive in the passing lanes, really push up. We knew in a half-court setting, even if we stopped somebody, we weren't probably going to get the rebound anyway. So we, just kind of calculated if we can go out, really pressure the ball, see if we can get people dribbling up the sideline, get them in a speed dribble. If we could force turnovers, it was worth taking that risk because we could convert it on the other end in transition, and so we'd give up buckets. But, I think when a team was willing to pass the ball, which a lot of young point guards are not, we pressure them, they try and dribble through it like they have something to prove, and once we get them in a speed dribble, they're in big trouble. But, yeah, when a team's willing to move the ball, pass the ball, and be unselfish, it opens us up to giving up a lot of buckets, especially around the hoop. So, we were just looking for ways to win. That's a lot of fun, but we were small. We were real small.
198 points scored, I believe, that night. So everybody got the ball up and down the floor, and like Coach Archer mentioned, that the 9 or 10 records, single game records, broken in that game. Not to mention the total points in the tournament, which Teddy set. But when you leave there, you come out of that Tournament of Champions experience. Kind of give us an idea of what the rest of each of your seasons were like, and we'll start with Scott.
I'd like to not remember the end of your season. You're talking about it.
I share that thought, Scott.
Yeah, Coach Dennis, it's hard to talk about to this day, but we had an amazing year. We had an amazing career there in Bolivar, really leading up to many more successes and great teams after our success. But yeah, we obviously our only losses to throughout the season were during the tournament champions that year up until the very last game of the season, which most of us remember. We lost in the district championship to Nixa. So yeah, that's kind of how it ended. It ended bittersweet, but that's still not easy to talk about 22 years later. But it's great to remember the great times that we did have and the amazing team that was on the court from top to bottom.
And Teddy, what was your remaining season like?
That whole year was really cool. Like I said, we traveled a lot. We played in the KMOX in St. Louis, played in Springfield. We played in City of Palms Classic in Fort Myers, obviously. We played in a Hooters event. We played several just really big marquee events. So the whole year was really fun. After that year, I would go on later in that season to break the all-time Florida scoring record, and that record's still there too. And so that was pretty neat. We went on throughout the season and made a great run deep into the playoffs all the way to the end. But then we ended up losing to Miami Senior High School, who Frank Martin was the coach. He's coach of South Carolina now. They had Udonis Haslam, Wright, Sylvan Robinson, Antonio Latimer, Steve Blake. Basically had 5 NBA players in their starting lineup. But luckily I got 3 of those guys to come with me to Florida on our team that won, SEC championships and went to the Final Four and stuff like that. And that's how we ended that season, number 2. And the same thing we did a few years before against Vince Carter and the crew. We were ranked 6th in the country. We lost in a state championship to Daytona Beach Mainland. So, then we finished 2nd when I was in college. We lost in a national championship game to Michigan State. So, if you listen to my dad, he'll tell you I'm the best loser in the country.
Well, did you guys have an opportunity, after that historic night, back in '98? Did you ever have another opportunity to meet, or did you kind of follow each other's careers a little bit? Because I know, Scott, you had an opportunity to play in the Sweet 16, and Teddy, you were talking about your postseason at the college level. Did you guys maybe pay attention a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. I still recall to this day when we did meet after the game or during the all-tournament team announcements. Teddy was like, "Hey, I'll see you in the NCAA tournament," because we kind of both knew at that time we both had an opportunity to be there, and we did. little did we know, a year later we were able to play in the big stage at Missouri State and get to the tournament and play against Wisconsin, Tennessee, and then Duke in the Sweet 16. And then I think it was the year after the year beyond that is whenever Teddy would get to the championship game at Florida. Yeah, definitely followed him just as close as any other, players. That it's just kind of the thing that you do after you play against someone is gonna shine on the big stage. It's neat to turn around and watch them and see how they do. And then again, 20 years later, I've got two boys that are asking me, hey, who'd you play against? Anybody in the NBA? And then that list goes down. And Teddy's name's always on there as well, because that's a big name down here and across the country that people will always reflect back on, especially during these times when we don't have an NCAA tournament. It's a great time to reflect and look back on those games and relive them.
Teddy, it's same question there. You have an opportunity there maybe to kind of follow along a little bit. I know you were busy as well.
Oh yeah. You always follow the guys you play against, and like Scott said, when you get good enough, and that's always the key. People ask me, what's the key to getting a scholarship? It's be good enough. Those guys get paid millions of dollars to find the best players. It's not about exposure and that kind of stuff. If you're good enough, they're going to find you. But when you play against guys that earn your respect, you'll see them later. And, you always want the guys you play against to do well. It's kind of like if you're rooting for XYZ team and they lose in the Sweet 16, you kind of want that team that beat you to go all the way. It makes you feel like you lost to a winner. It gives it a little, makes you feel better about yourself. And then obviously we've been able to jump on the calls here, a handful of times over, 20 years. But yeah, during the Bass Pro out there, we've had these calls, and when you look back on it, it's a little easier to talk about yourself now that it was just so long ago. When you're coming up, you always want to be humble and you want to deflect. But when you look back on what we did, people are still talking about it. Those records are there, and at the end of the day, you brought a lot of happiness and joy to people by playing the game of basketball, and to have, person way out there talking to their kids about me way over here, down here is I'll tell you, it's pretty flattering and pretty neat. It's really, really cool.
Well, it's still the game that we've talked about around this area and the tournament champions more than any other. And Coach Archer, maybe the only time in the history of basketball that a coach walks off to a standing ovation after giving up 103 points.
Yes. Yeah, that was the most amazing thing was there were two teams out there just battling everything they had, especially after playing two previous nights and pretty contested games. But to walk off that floor after the game to a standing ovation in a fifth place game was pretty amazing. And Teddy, I've got a question for you, just for the record, and for my own personal well-being. Didn't you score over 60 points like a week or two after you hit 58 on us?
Oh yeah, I hit. We all the time really. I had 70 in one of the playoff games. We had games. I remember the first game of the year. I had the first 7 plays of the second half, 7 for 7, 7 threes, and I had 55 points with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And coach pulled me out. He's like, "It's a long season." So, he was not, leave me in at all costs. I averaged 42 for the season, but there were a lot of games where I didn't play the fourth quarter and we were beating teams bad, and he'd take me out. So, our offense was designed to let it fly.
Yeah.
And, we put the time in, we put the work in, and practiced as much or more as anybody possibly could. There's only so much time in the day, and I took a lot of pride in that. But with that said, I see 100% of the coaches now, even with people doing it in the league, they really limit what kids can do. And our coach was pretty open to, the best shot we could get is one that I took, and that was a good offensive plan. We slow it down and we start running plays, double teams and triple teams actually become, a real deterrent to shoot. There's better shots. But if you're in transition most of the time, and even if 2 or 3 guys are guarding you and they're backing up, or they're forced to pick you up at half court, that gives me a lot more room to maneuver around them and get to my spots. So, by by just playing the style of play that was beneficial for us. And then 3 years later, he had an exchange student, a couple 6'8" guys, pretty good heady guards that couldn't shoot. And they still played fast. They still pushed the ball, but he was able to adjust his coaching style for the pieces that he had, and the pieces he had with me were to let us loose. And I really am thankful for that. I'm really, because I don't think I'm so small that had he not done that and in that humble and open as a coach, who knows if I would have got the looks. Because when you look at me, you wouldn't think, hey, let's give this guy a chance for at the next level. He had to let me show my stuff. And so that is something that I do not overlook, and I didn't then either. And it's really changed my life.
So, Coach, what I take from that answer, just to clarify, is we held just a hair over his average, so that's pretty good defense in that book.
After all these years, I can finally rest easy at night.
Wow. Hey,
Let me ask you guys this. Do you have I know this seems crazy. Is there a video of that game?
There is, and I'm trying to track it down. There's a couple players that I think may have it. I'm still trying to get in contact with them, and hopefully we can get that back out and get you a copy of it.
That's how long ago it was. I got a lot of games like that. We played Compton Dominguez. They were number one. They had Tayshaun Prince, Tyson Chandler, Kenny Bruner, Jason Thomas. I want to say Trevor Ariza was young and on the bench. Didn't play. They were number one in America. I think we played them. We lost by 1 point in the city of Palms, and nobody has the darn game on film. And that's how ancient stuff is. Crazy.
I will do my best to track it down for you.
Let's get that baby on YouTube. Let's get some views.
You bet. That's right.
Well, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate you guys all of you being generous with your time. This was, it's 25 minutes long, and I could have went 2 hours. But it's fun to look back on, and I really appreciate you guys being generous with your time and allowing me to kind of break into your daily routine, although people probably aren't doing much right now, but I appreciate it.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Guy, for putting this together.
Hey, you bet. Coach Archer, thanks as well.
You bet. Thank you.
You bet. We're going to step away, take a quick time out.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.